I want to introduce my good friend. You saw him jump off the helicopter with us. Mark Stark, who's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Arizona, California, Nevada properties. Mark's company has 32 offices with over 3,200 agents in 4 markets in 3 states. He's an industry leader and has been named amongst the most powerful people in real estate by Swanepoel 2000. Last year, his company ranked number 19 in sales volume out of all brokerages in the country. In 2020, they closed for $7 billion in residential sales and 14,265, 700 more than our company. We need to catch him, those of you that work here, okay? That's bullshit. I don't care he's got 3 times agents. That don't matter. We grind in Omaha, okay? So learn something from me so we make up those 700 units. His company recently was entered into Inc.'s 5,000 Hall of Fame for being named one of America's fastest growing private companies over the last 5 years. Congratulations, brother. Mark is a driven community member, having served on the board of Opportunity Village, a previous member of the board of directors of the Las Vegas Association of Realtors, a member of Vestige, which is an international organization of CEOs, a past member of the Henderson Citizens Advisory Committee. He directs Americana's Charitable Foundation. Woo! Busy son of a bitch. Let's give a big hand to my good friend, to our guest speaker, Mark Stark.
And here comes, all right, perfect. All right, so here's what I want to do today. My goal for you today is we're going to talk about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. And that subject is execution. That is something that I think is one of the biggest challenges. You know, ideas can sometimes flow. And we all have, you know what, this would be a great idea. This is a great opportunity. But what it really comes down to is how well can we execute on these ideas? And I think that's what gets away from us. So what I want to share with you today is I'm going to give you about 10 items that I think are key regardless of what the execution plan that you're working on, be it a broker or be it a sales executive. Now, what you'll notice in what I cover today, or what I hope you'll notice, is when I cover one of these, you'll feel that they come up and affect other categories and other aspects. And the reason for that is if you forget one of these, then what you'll do is very possibly sabotage the success of another one. And so when you really get execution and you really understand what you're trying to accomplish, you'll be amazed that you'll go, you know what, I can't skip that because I know it'll sabotage me over here. And instead of getting over here going, what's the problem? And then you spend all this time trying to work this out and fix it, and the real issue was right at the top. All right, so let's get started. Maybe. All right, the first item is clarity of direction. Clarity of direction. Now, I am going to classify this. I put this number 1 for a reason. Clarity in life, personal, family, business is a superpower. Okay? It is a superpower. If you have clarity, I promise you, you will solve so many other issues that come up. I guarantee you that many of the problems you are having, it's because of lack of clarity. And I will tell you the secret to clarity is specificity. The more general you are, the least helpful it will be. So when I talk about clarity, you need to be as specific as you possibly can. This provides you clearly direction of where you're going. And I will tell you, in my life, this has protected me. It protects me in my personal relationships. It protects me in parenting my kids. Okay, it's really key. Clarity doesn't always go the direction you want, but you understand what your responsibility is within that relationship or in that situation, and then you know, okay, that's what I want. It goes back to, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Okay, very two different directions, very two different things that can bring you in different places. If you say, I want to be happy, there's things that you will do differently because you have clarity, that's what you want. Now I'm going to give you 3 questions that you need to answer. And by the way, these questions through life, you will continue to answer again and again and again. I'd love to tell you once you got it, you go, whew, I'm clear forever. But no, life changes, things adjust, and now you always have to be checking these 3 questions out. First question, who am I? Who am I? Second question, what do I want? What do I want? Remember, specifics. You're general about it, that's a problem. And 3, what price am I willing to pay? And there is always a price. And that doesn't always mean financial. Could be time, could be relationships. You know what? My family's the most important to me, but I golf 7 days a week. Okay? And I don't golf, by the way. And you don't want to invite me to golf, trust me. Okay, so you've got to be clear, all right? What do you really want? And own it. Own it. Don't argue with yourself. It's like someone who is saying, I want to work out and get into shape, but they never go to the gym. Own it. You don't want to know something? I don't want to get into shape. No, that's not what I want. What do you want to do? I want to eat whatever I want, and I'll just gain and buy bigger clothes. That's what I want to do, okay? Own that, because the reality of it is, all you're doing is telling yourself a lie through the process. I believe own it. There's things that I just won't do. I own them. Nope, not going to do it. And I have clarity on it. And not everyone likes that. Not, I can tell my wife in some scenarios, she just goes, you're never going to change with that. I go, no, I'm positive. Never. I'm never going to change. Okay? So I just want you to know, I'm going to own this one. This is me and this is who I am. Clarity. Okay? And again, you'll see this come up as we go through this. Second, consistency. Consistency. Now, one thing about consistency, please know this. This is one of the aspects that makes consistency be very effective. Less is more. Less is more. Try and do too much, consistency fails. Okay? So, come on. Get back down there. There we go. So consistency in your routine. Consistency in your routine. And that means personal, okay, business, whatever that aspect is for you, financial. When an investor says to me, they want to maximize their, Mark, I really want to maximize my return. I go, really? So I go, if we do something and you lose all the equity in it, but we went to maximize, you're good with that. No, I'm not good with that. I said, okay, so you don't want to maximize, okay, your money because you're not willing to take the risk that will go along with maximizing it. So let me ask you another question. Let's get clarity about this. What do you really want? Well, when I sat down and I figured it out, I need a 7% return to get everything I truly want. Okay, then let's take enough risk to support a 7% return instead of trying to take a risk of a 35% return when you don't even really want a 35% return or need a 35% return. Okay, get clarity. You may be totally fine with a 5% return. Why? Because it does everything you need it to do. Clarity. Clarity is powerful. Okay, so consistency. One other, and this one gets missed. DRC. Write this down. Daily revenue commitment. DRC. If you do not have a daily revenue commitment, there is no way you will consistently hit your goals. See, some of us, talent is a curse. You're so damn good at what you do on an ongoing basis that you screw yourself because you can be okay and you can be successful and do decent because you're that good. What a shame. instead of the person who really has to have that stickability and work at it, because they're not as talented as you, but they're going to produce more than you do. And they're going to get more of what they want. And that production may not be money all the time. You know, as Vince talks about on a consistent basis, it doesn't always have to be dollars, but there are things that you want, and you got to get clarity around those things. All right? And that consistency, I will tell you, you don't have a DRC, okay? You will have all these other issues as we go over execution. Have to have a DRC. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Now, one thing behind the scenes, I do not believe in a business plan, an annual business plan. I don't. I believe in a business budget, okay? Business plans, 99% of the time, this is what happens. You spend all this time, you work on this business plan, you really spend some time on it, kudos. After you're done and you got everything worked out, you put it right where it belongs in a drawer. And when do you bring it out? Next year when it's time to update the business plan. If it's not a living, breathing document every single day, I don't use it. I don't use it. And I know there's a small percentage that live and die by their business plan, but the majority, we're talking execution today, the majority don't. So I like where you don't have to worry about a business plan. You have to worry about today. Today's Wednesday. What do I need to do today to be productive? I have a daily revenue commitment today. Tuesday doesn't exist. Thursday doesn't exist. I don't have to worry about it. Mark, what if I go on vacation for 2 weeks? Enjoy yourself. Own it. Have a great time. Do I have to catch up? No, you don't. There is no catching up. You come back on a Monday, you know what you got to do Monday. Be consistent Monday. Don't add it together. Don't go through all that headache. You want to execute. Just do what you were supposed to do Monday. No excuses. Best advice I ever got is from a mentor of mine, George Head. When I started in the business as a brand new agent, I was 21, didn't have any sphere. My sphere couldn't afford beer besides afford a house. So I had him go meet people. And he said, Mark, I don't want you to gauge your day by hours. I want you to gauge it by appointments. I said, okay, what do you mean? He goes, I want you to commit to, you're 21, you got no responsibilities, you got no kids, you're not married. He goes, I want you to go on 2 appointments, two new appointments a day. Can be with a seller, can be with a buyer, but 2 a day, 5 days a week. My chosen way to get that, there's no wrong way, was FSBOs, expireds, and door knocking. Yours might be different. Okay, that's great. It should go along with who you are, be authentic, your strengths. All right, that's what you should support. I picked those 3. All I cared about was my 2 appointments a day. That was it. 2 new appointments. And a FSBO was always a savior for me. Why? Because I could always get in to preview a new FSBO, and that was a new opportunity. So that always covered my back to get my 2. That's it. If you want to gauge me on everything else that I did on a day-to-day basis, you give me F, 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 A. It's freaking great at my appointments. I had marketing under my desk for a year. I finally sent it out after a year and only had one client say, hey, Mark, this is the wrong year. And I go, damn printer. Anyway, so, okay, because I wasn't doing anything right, but what I was doing, okay, was going on my appointments. And I got to a point where I could carry 50 plus listings, and then clarity kicked in. And I said, Mark, never let your listings drop below 50. No matter how many sell, never let them drop below 50, and you'll never have to worry about money again. So that was my focus. 2 appointments a day, never let it drop below 50. 2 appointments a day, never let it drop below 50. That was it. Today, I would do a lot of these in addition to that, differently than I did then, but I was successful. Doesn't mean I was as successful as I could have been, but I was successful at that time. DRC, very important, whatever that DRC is to you. Now, let's go over one that is really a pet peeve of mine, and that is a true client focus. When I talk to sales executives, and this came up yesterday in some of the talks, when I talk about to an agent and say, are you about the client? You know, Mark, truthfully, I am all about the client. I'm all about great service. I truly care. I'm hardworking. I'm honest. I'm smart. I communicate. All those things, very, very important. But if you think you're doing me a favor because you care, work hard, okay, and you communicate with me and you're honest, let me help you out here. Let me put on my consumer hat. Do you think I would ever meet with you if I thought you were a lazy agent who was going to rip my head off and never call me and keep me up to date. And by the way, thank you for keeping me up to date on my property. Woo! You're awesome. Guys, don't get out there and sell the mandatories. Those are mandatories. I agree they're important, but I already have that expectation. I already believe. That's why I'm meeting with you. You were referred to me. You weren't referred to me. I don't care. I have a level of expectation of who you are. Could be wrong, but I believe this. Now, let's talk about what really a client focus is. A client focus is, and you heard this yesterday, different people talking about it, about first you have to listen. So you got to listen to what they're saying. Really listen. That isn't thinking about what you're going to say next. It's listening to what they say. All right? And I will tell you, one of my frustrations, and I hear a lot of agents say this, more agents than I would like to admit, right? And I hear certainly consumers say that, but I can appreciate that coming from a consumer. They don't know, but we know. You know, Mark, when an agent says this, very frustrating. You know, Mark, I got to tell you right now, I mean, first of all, you really got to be flexible with commissions because homes are selling themselves. I mean, homes are selling quick. I mean, what am I supposed to do when, truthfully, well, I can't argue with a seller, you know, because their house will sell super quick. Houses are selling like this. Let me be clear. You do not have clarity on what your job is. That's your problem. You have no clarity. Let me tell you what our job is in an environment like we are right now. And that can tweak with different environments. We'll talk about that in a bit. But here's the kicker. From a standpoint of our job, one, certainly, well, let me give you first. One, maximize my equity. Maximize my equity. Not sell my house. Of course your house can sell. That's not the problem in this market. Maximize my equity. Secondly, when you find the purchaser that can maximize my equity, make sure they can follow through, execute on all their promises. So great, I offer you $1 billion for your house. It's not a good deal if I can't actually close on $1 billion. Okay, so the reality of it is your job is twofold. Maximize my equity and find a purchaser in that example that can actually follow through. And then third, any other very important key goals to the client. And you got that through listening. That's your job. So now I want to do this. And this will also help you with commission versus client value. You know, pricing a property in this environment, I'm gonna step back. Pricing a property in any environment, I'm gonna give you a way that, one, it will help you, and I'm gonna go over this next one, forward pacing, very important, but this will help you forward pace. So the first thing is if you are trying, raise your hand if any house that you know of in your market, doesn't matter which market, has sold at a price that even surprised you. Okay. So what does that tell us? And I'm from Vegas, not originally, but I live in Vegas, okay? And living in Vegas, okay, I understand gambling. But I don't think it's a good idea that if you're truly client focused, that you should gamble with my house. So you picking a price in a crazy environment, sorry, I don't trust you. And nor should you trust you. Why don't we just put everything you have on red? And we'll keep our fingers crossed. It's only black or green that can screw you. Come on, let's do it. I don't do that with the clients. And when you, as an agent, come in and offer a price, I got you. If you offer any price, when I hear an agent say to me, well, I lost that listing, it's so crazy because Mark, the comps, even at the high side, if I went crazy, we're at 800. She picked an agent who promised them $1 million. Okay? I know you right there, you don't understand this market and you don't understand your client and you're presenting it properly. Let me tell you what this type of market is about. It is not about price. It is about process. Process versus price. Process. When I get another agent, okay, saying it would be to me or one of my sales executives, I want them to know, wait a minute. I want to understand your process. You don't have to worry about price. Maybe $1 million is right. Maybe it's $1.1 million. I don't know, but I'll tell you what I do know. I know the freaking process. I know how to maximize your equity. And I have to tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, any agent who gives you a price, they don't understand the process and they don't understand this market. And they will leave potentially hundreds of thousands, at least tens of thousands of dollars on the market for you. All right? Do not fall. It's any price. It doesn't matter what price they promise you. It is about process, so you maximize it. My job is to attract as many offers as I can. But Mark, I'm listening to you, but we have to put a price in the MLS. We can't put the word process. That ain't going to work. Okay, so what do we pick? Oh, I have no problem picking a number in there, but it's not the selling price. Why would I put the selling price in there? I don't know it. What I'm going to put is a strategic launching price that will help me maximize my seller's equity. And for those of you uncomfortable, I'm going to put in the agent aid remarks, my seller can accept any price for any terms, for any reason, any time frame that they choose at their sole choice, however you want to write that. Because I know in different markets, they're like, well, what if they come in with saying that's an at-list offer? First of all, there is no such thing. If there was a such thing as an at-list offer, we'd all be having different conversations today. There isn't an at-list offer. All right, so the kicker is the price you pick in the MLS is strategic. It's part of your process to maximize my equity. Okay, because I want to get 20 offers on a property is better than 19. 26 is better than 18. Oh, Mark, but that's a lot of work. Great, no problem. Thank you for letting me know that. You're not my agent, okay? I want as many offers as possible. And not only that, by the way, because I didn't go to 950, when I didn't believe even 950 could make it, I lost the buyer who was willing to pay over 950 and has the means to pay over 950, but they missed it because at that time they were looking up to 900. So now I lost them because they didn't get to see this amazing house. They didn't get to see the opportunity. They didn't get enthused through the auction and what it is and us being able to work together and convince them and work with the other agent. I lost all that opportunity. It's just like on the phone. What's the job of the phone? Phone has one job, get an appointment. That's it. That's it. You get 100 appointments and don't take a listing, the phone worked perfectly. You suck, but the phone is good. Okay? Don't blame the phone. Use things at the right time. The presentation changes once I have an offer. Okay? You don't do it in advance. Process over price. Now, I don't worry about an agent overpricing me. In fact, I look forward to it. Once they say it, I own them. Because anyone who comes in with any price, I own them. And now they're out. Okay? Now, this idea of commission. Oh my God, guys. Look at this. We're blind without a cane. Look at the situation. You're selling properties sometimes for $75,000, $100,000, $200,000 higher than even you thought, and you're going to lose a listing because there's a discount agent? Who's the problem? My God, true example. California happened in the last 90 days. In fact, she did we have a program called Apex, which helps our sellers kind of become their own iBuyer. Long story short, the agent felt, and I worked with her to change her presentation, but the agent felt that the price of the property was $700. And I said to her, you shouldn't have even picked a price on this. But she felt the comps were coming in around $700. I said, yeah, but that's not what we're going to do. Long story short, we worked with Apex. They, without getting into that detail, they buy the property and then they give you the opportunity for the client to move out and renovate the property. And you guys all have different programs that do things like this. They renovated the property. They professionally staged the property. Long story short, sold for $1,050,000. Okay, from 700. Even the agent, after it was remodeled, go, oh my God, this is at least worth 900. No, be careful. We're not picking a price. That's not what we do. We maximize the equity. That was $290,000 more in our client's pocket. How many commissions is that? She would have gone with a 4% discount, or she would have saved the 2%. That's like 140. There's 14. There's a number in there that I can't figure out right now. It's not even the point. But I'm telling you, that's it. It's 14 grand. Thank you. All right? Guys, come on. We're the own problem. We're not thinking money. It's when you get caught up in percentages, you blow it. Clarity. Clarity. They want a big check. If you went to your client who had their house worth $1 million and said, we're going to price it at $1, and I guarantee you $2 million at closing, they'd be okay with it. Silly example, but I'm telling you, if they guaranteed and the governor signed off on it and they got a check for $2 million clear, you could convince them. It's about money in that scenario. It's not about percentages. Get off this percentage thought process. So that would be my new way for you to present. Okay, I mentioned forward pacing. It's a powerful thing. Forward pacing says you have clarity. See, Mark, I already know the problems I have. I know what's coming up with the other agent. I know what's coming up with the buyer. I know what's coming up with the seller. We deal with it all the time. So I forward pace everybody. I forward pace my clients. I forward pace my lender. I forward pace my title person. Escrow. I forward pace everyone because I already know. So I lay the groundwork in advance. That's forward pacing. Lay it knowing this potentially can happen. So when it does, I go, absolutely. No, totally. Remember where we went over this, and that's I had us. You sign this off. Whatever the case may be is always forward pace every place that you can. What you're doing in forward pacing is you've got clarity and you're erasing the problem before it happens. By the way, if it never happens, it never happens. No harm, no foul. You've got your processes in and you're off and running to the races. Okay, this is a big one for sales executives. Revenue versus expense mindset. Just so you know, I am a revenue mindset guy forever and always. Ever and always. Our industry has tried, and successfully in many ways, has said, wait a minute, there's only one side of the income statement. Expenses, guys. Expense. Don't worry about the revenue side. It's all about expense. When's the last time you saw someone get an award? Hey, I just want to award Mark. He's done a phenomenal job. He didn't close much, but boy, is his expenses low. Come on, guys. Do you know what? How many of you watch, if you watch CNBC, you will see companies that lower their expenses and their stock goes down. Why? Because the attitude is this, look, everyone's got to manage expenses. No one's saying throw away money. That's not the message. Of course you got to manage expenses, but success comes from revenue. Success comes from driving revenue. And if I'm going to invest in your stock, I need to know that you have a way of driving revenue. Because by the way, yeah, you cut expenses today, but I'm going to believe that you can't just keep doing that every year and keep making me more on the company. So I need to know you have a revenue model. You want to be successful, you better start having a revenue mindset. This expense idea. I've had sales executives sit with me, they're going to hire an assistant, and they're like, well, you know, what's the normal price? Is it $20 an hour? Is it $25? I go, I don't care. I don't care. And that question upsets me. And they go, what do you mean? It's just I don't want to overspend. I go, no, you're thinking wrong. What do you need to earn? Why are you hiring them? Get clarity. Why are you hiring this person? Why? Okay? Then once you know that, and there's nothing wrong to say, I'm not hiring this person to make more money. I'm not. I'm hiring this person because I'm working 7 days a week and I want more time with my family. Good. Then let's focus on more time with my family, what you really want. And I don't care if that means we have to pay $33 an hour for someone quality to get done and you spending more time with your family, I'm in because you got clarity. You want what you want, okay? And you know what you want. Guys, we make it harder than it is. And trust me, it can be hard enough with a changing world. We don't need to help it along, okay? So you need to, this idea of an expense thought process, dump it. Dump it. And again, the message isn't just throw money away. It is about maximizing revenue. You want to cut expenses? You cut expenses with this in mind. I cut expenses, never injuring revenue at all. That's the perfect goal. How do I get expenses as low as I can and keep revenue doing this? All right? You certainly don't want this. Okay, so that's not the message. Both going up, skyrocketing. So you've got to manage it. But if you get this, you don't do it the other way. Okay, you've got to manage, and expenses go up, you make some adjustments, it is what it is, but you're not focused on just expense. Next, one more thing on revenue and expense. There are two types of marketing, and one gets lost many times, at least on a consistent basis, and that is there is client-focused marketing, and then there is leverage up my business marketing. Both should be very consistent. The rule of thumb is every listing you take should generate at least 2 closings, itself and one more. Okay, so the question is, what do you do on every piece of business, including your buyers? What are you doing? Okay, because when I sit down on my buyer's interview, I'm getting clarity, I'm understanding their goals, I'm forward pacing them, I'm doing the same thing, okay, as I would with a seller, forward pacing, understanding, and then doing my job. Okay, one other thing I just have to say about that. When an agent comes to me and says, you know, inventory's low, here's my pat answer every time. Really? What happened? And they're like going, what do you mean? I go, no, and I'm sorry, I don't know, I've been busy or whatever, but what happened to the houses? And they're like, Mark, what are you talking about? I go, you said there's low inventory. And that, yeah, the inventory's really low. Where did the houses go? What do you mean? I go, oh, you're talking about there's low inventory in the little computer box that you like to go, so it's really easy to type in all the information so you can do this. Oh, but the houses are still there. I go, guys, look at your units in 2020 did this. How's inventory? Low. Any houses? I can't find shit. We're the problem. You're selling more houses than you ever sold. The inventory's low? No. What it is saying, it's giving me an opportunity, because I know agents aren't going to work as hard as I am. So they're now going to miss opportunities because I will door knock. I will send out letters. I will. We were talking about a company that, you know, does the automated writing cards where they go out and they send it out. It looks like it's all handwritten, and that's going to a market because I can't. You'll get innovative. That's what you do in a situation like that, all right? But the inventory never changed, besides for maybe California, and the houses did go away. They burnt, okay? So that was a problem, all right? Okay, outcome thinking. All right, so again, clarity, the way you think, the way you make decisions, guys, I cannot impress upon you, affects everything. So outcome thinking. Outcome thinking says, look, let's use COVID. Great example. When COVID first hit, everyone's freaking out. What's going to be? Business plummets, okay? April and May, horrible. Here's what I knew. And I don't know many things 100%, but I knew this 100%. I go, I don't know what's going to happen in this environment, but I know this. There's going to be agents and brokers who win in this environment, and there's going to be agents and brokers who don't win. We want to be on the winning side. So we're not going to talk about this. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea about COVID. What do we have to do to win in this environment? Okay, that's how we got through 07, 08, 09. 77% of my top line in my company went away. 77%. Our average sales price in Vegas, I was in Vegas only at that time, went from 4.25 to 1.25 in months. Okay? So talk about an adjustment. All right? Doesn't matter. That wasn't at that time, prudential problem. That was a industry problem. There's going to be brokers and agents who win in that environment, and there's going to be brokers and agents that lose or don't win. Okay? The reality of it is we want to be one of the broker agents, okay, who win. What do we need to do? Now, because we were so focused on that, when things turned around, as we all know that it did, and COVID didn't do what we expected it to do, our business skyrocketed. We grew $1.57 billion year over year. Biggest growth we ever had, and no acquisitions. None. Just grew through average sales price and more units. It's a beautiful thing. 1.57 billion. Just to give you how powerful that is, there's what, 105,000 brokerages in the US. Brand, everybody. 100 through the NAR. Okay? 105. Out of 105, do you know there's less than 200 brokerages in the country that do 1.5 billion or greater. 200 out of 105,000. Okay? Small number. So to grow at that level, it's powerful. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens the way you're thinking every day. I got brokerages, people I know who are quality people, basically closed down. Not coming in. Not coming in. What are we doing? Not coming in. And that doesn't mean I ignore it. Follow the rules. What's the rule? I'm not a doctor. What are you telling me I got to do? And we'll follow those rules. And we'll do what we're supposed to do. And we'll be innovative and figure it out. And I'm glad other people are falling asleep at the wheel. All right? Because we're not going to do that. All right? So, this back up here. Apologize if I go away from it. All right. So, outcome thinking. So, what you need to make sure that you're doing is in any environment, doesn't matter the environment, from 07 to COVID, what outcomes do I want to see happen? And what do we need to do to achieve those outcomes? Period. That's your focus. Yeah, but Mark, that's the whirlwind. Don't want to hear it. Unless it helps us get to the outcomes we want, I don't want to hear it. What outcome do we want? And what are the actions we need to take to achieve that outcome? Period. Stay focused. You will find when you get clarity and you are consistent on those actions, you're unstoppable. You are unstoppable because you're not letting the whirlwind and all the rumor mill and all the other crap slow you down. Number 9, all decisions should stem from your vision of your perfect day. I learned this about 20 years ago from a gentleman named Kurt Anderson. He's my CPA today. Freaking just brilliant, brilliant guy. And I was in Vegas only, and I wanted to grow to other markets. And I have to tell you something, running Vegas, I was buried. And I would sit down with him because he's still one of my main mentors. And I said, Kurt, I want to grow into other markets, but I don't have enough time to do Vegas. How am I grow to other markets? We went over things, we talked about it. He goes, okay, I found the problem. He goes, what? He goes, you. And I go, okay, you got to get rid of me. How is that going to be my perfect day? Okay. And what I got, and by the way, here's an easy system, and people take this negatively, and it's really power. You're always the problem. You're always the problem. And when I tell people take 100% responsibility, and they always go, well, that's not, first of all, you're going down blame. Don't worry about blame. Blame's worthless. Blame is an ego-driven, feeling. Responsibility is powerful, and here's the misnomer on responsibility is there's only 100%. I never said that, okay? There could be, if there's 4 people, there could be 400%. Just the silly example I give, if you're sitting at a red light, you're stopped, you're not moving, and someone hits you from behind, and someone asks you, who's responsible? You are. Think about it. You chose to be at that exact light, at that exact moment where someone hit you from behind. Try and do that. Just go out with your spouse the next day. What are we doing? Just hang in there. What are you waiting for? Seeing if someone hits us. It's tough to do, okay? But you were there at that exact moment in time to let that happen. Now, here's the misnomer. 1, if you ask the other person, are they responsible? What's their responsibility? Yes, and what percentage? 100%. They're 100% responsible. Everybody has a responsibility. And here's the other thing, when you take 100% responsibility, you don't lose anything. Well, does that mean I can't use my insurance company? They have to pay? No, you get every benefit. Here's the additional benefit you get from taking responsibility. You never stop thinking about a solution. What do I need? I'm responsible. Be clear. This was not my fault. I did not do this. Mistake. Every time you say those words, it's an error. You need to understand taking 100% responsibility is another superpower. It doesn't put any more liability on you than it did before. All it does is keep you engaged. You don't have to do this now. Not my issue. I didn't do that. I'm out. No, you're engaged with and going, this affects my life. This affects what's important to me. This affects my clarity of the outcome I want. I got to stay involved. I'm responsible. I'm on it. Okay? I remember getting a call from somebody. They made an error. It cost me $144,000. He called me up and he said, hey, I just want you to know, I am so sorry. And this was totally my fault. Okay? I just want to take responsibility. And I said, you know what? I so appreciate this call. It was $144,000. I need you to write the check. And he's like, oh, well, Mark, that's not what the call, you want to take the blame. Oh, freaking it, don't waste my time. It's meaningless. I have to take responsibility. You want to take blame. How about I take the blame and you take the responsibility? I haven't talked to that guy since, probably understandably, okay? Last item, and then if we have any time, I'll open up for some questions. Last item, exit strategy. For everybody should have an exit strategy. Exit strategy is a must. And here's, again, the misnomers of exit strategy. You think, well, I need an exit strategy when I'm thinking of exiting. No. That's not having clarity and understanding the power of an exit strategy. Here's what an exit strategy does. Exit strategy gives you clarity, certainly, on where you want to take your life, your organization, your business, whatever the case may be, okay? But what it does for you is when an exit strategy is set up properly, all right, it generates more income in the now, all right? So you generate more income in the now because for our businesses, one of the things we do is we help our agents sell their business, if that's what they want to do. We end up doing now about 3 a year, okay? And in doing that, okay, what gives you value? Well, your sphere, your database, your processes, your systems, okay? How do you drive revenue? I'm out there. I know a lot of people. Okay, well, that you can't monetize that, okay? You end up reducing the value of your asset. So if you set up and say, I have 500 names in a database, I've built it over the last 15, 20 years, I have more information on each one of those people documented. No Google, no Facebook, no one has the information I have because it wasn't built in a day. It was built over time. I know their favorite restaurants. I know why they moved to this market. I know what they like to do. I know their children. I know birthdays. I know every single thing I can. I know every property they bought. I know when they buy an investment property, what's important to them. It's all logged here. Would you be willing to pay for that database? Would you be willing to pay more than if I handed you some phone book leads and go, call them? Some of these might sell. Guys, we've got to see. Now, answer me this. If you had all that information and your process was to gather that information knowing I'll need it 20 years from now, do you think you'd make more money now setting up those processes? Of course. When you set up an exit strategy, it generates more income now. It's the things you need to do anyway. Then when you package your business, you've got a business that is saleable. We've sold businesses where we've helped the agent get an SBA loan to buy another agent's business. Okay? So, but it's got to be set up like a business. If you're doing the seat of your pants and you don't really see that you're in business, all right, it's a problem. So you're running a brokerage within a brokerage. I don't care if you're one agent or you're 21 agents. You're running a brokerage within a brokerage. The size is up to you, what you decide to do. All right? These items that I shared with you today, I got to tell you, as you can see, I hope you feel the passion. I live by them. They're so, I find 85% of the issues sales executives have nothing to do with real estate. They have to do with business. They're business issues. Could be widgets, real estate, or something else. Sandwich shop. There's a foundational mindset and systems and processes that you need to be successful in any business. And so many of you have pieces and parts of all of this. What I want you to do is have clarity and really see it. With that said, let me open it up for any questions that anyone has. If we got a few minutes here. Yes.
The question is, how do you value these teams' business?
Okay.
So a team, like how do you value that business? What could a team expect if they were going to sell their team to another agent?
It can be different from every single scenario, so it depends on certainly your financials, your amount of closings, the amount of business, the terms you're willing to offer, okay, can change. But in my experience of what we've done, and we've done many, they generate from any approximately 1.5 times your EBITDA, earnings before interest and taxes, all right, versus up to 3 times. So, and 3 times, if you're going to get a 3 multiple on your business, you've got a great shop set up. It makes sense, and we'll find somebody to buy that business. We'll find somebody specifically for the ones that are set up right, and you'll maximize because you got a real business. It's generating real income. And don't worry, I know what some of you are thinking right now. Well, what do you do when you're trying to sell it and you have all the relationships? We have a process that takes that into consideration. So this is not something you close like this. You may close it in advance, but part of the process is a 12 to 18 month scenario where you're working together. So let's say I'm the buyer. I buy your business. The world sees me coming in. You brought in a partner because you're just so busy and then we strategically introduce me to everyone. When you kind of start traveling more and doing more things and having your fun, they already know me. They're not giving you up by working with me. We've strategically, with clarity, had a premeditated plan of attack to get me to meet every single individual that is important to me with your help as the seller. That's part of the deal. And then I can come in, and then when I take over, oh, it's Mark. It's not, who's this new guy? It's Mark. We've known him for the last 1.5 years. He's been great. And I've made definite the efforts to make sure I've built that relationship along with the seller. Yes.
On that note, do you see anyone set an exit strategy instead of a lump sum, ongoing residual or referral fees?
Yes, we've done all of it. I will tell you the ones I like, and it really depends what works. We've had some buyers that have said, I won't pay anything up front. I will do it over time. And they were very strong producers, and the seller was comfortable because they were just somebody that they were not going out of business. They were doing a hellacious amount of business. This is what they wanted, and they felt they were protected. But most of the time, it's money down and a carryback over X period of time. And it's not based on closings. It's a carryback like any normal business. It is, you know what? I just sold my business for $500,000. Well, the last one we did was $275,000. Okay, it was a smaller business. She did some. I'm sorry, the last one we did. That's not true. The last one was $500,000. That was the property management business. It was $500,000. They put down $100,000, and they're carrying $400,000 for the next 5 years, every month. And this new property management group came in, and now they have a new business, and they're excited. And the business is really paying for the earnout over time.
Do you encourage agents to buy other agents' businesses?
Do all the time.
Hey, you're young. Wouldn't it be better to buy a kind of a sloppy business? Like I'd rather pay 1.5x on a business that's not packaged up super tight, and then I'll make it right and get a discount.
Okay, listen. The comment is right. No. I want to buy a weaker business, and you want to know something? That's a great statement. There's no wrong or right to it. But I promise you this: sometimes it's like anything else. You buy quality, you get other benefits from that, but you pay more. Okay, you buy less quality, and you say, I can fix this and save this. Okay. Once you do your due diligence, you're like, I'm okay. I've gone through due diligence, excited and going, you know what? This is a weaker company, but this is a good one. By the end of due diligence, like, this is a really weak company, and it's not such a good thing, okay? And so you have to look at it, and once you do your homework, you'll determine it. But absolutely it can go down that direction. Because you have the leadership and the processes and the systems in place. Time for one more? Yes.
I'm going to brag on Mark for a minute. I'm one of his agents, and I just want to share something he does that I've incorporated in my business that I think has worked really. I'm a former teacher. I don't have to have a microphone. But anyway, I'm one of Marcus' agents, and I just want to incorporate something that he does that's really cool. I think that I use in my business is very helpful. Mark calls every agent in his group on their birthday. How many agents do you have? Do you do it too? Okay. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
about
many agents do you call?
About 3,300, and then staff, and it's about 3,600 total.
Okay. So my partner and I started calling all of our clients on their home anniversary versus their birthday. And it has had a really big impact and help us connected. But I know, again, it's a half an hour, 40 minutes a day. It's a really big deal, but to me, it has a lot of impact. So
Yeah, thanks. Okay. I hope today was helpful. I just have to say, these types of events, guys, the dollars, and I don't care if you add hotel, travel, cost of the event, is so outweighed the value that you can get. And so I love these type of opportunities. I really appreciate Vince giving me the opportunity to speak today, and I hope it was valuable. Thanks everybody for your time.